When Joseph Kerwin was fired from Cobalt Technology, a wholly owned subsidiary of Nova Life Services, the official reason given for his termination was listed as insubordination. He was the assistant to the senior researcher in the Renewable Energy Division, whose main goal was to find a way to market and sell nuclear waste to the general public. They had been trying, unsuccessfully, to convert strontium-90 into a food additive for years, but the fatality rate was beyond the current legal levels. Cobalt Technology's attorneys were petitioning the courts to award them a special exemption based upon the company's market share. But red tape and a few do-gooder politicians kept filing countersuits, and it looked like the legislation wasn't going to pass. One evening, as Joseph was working late into the night, trying to find a way to combine strontium-90 with diethylene triamine in order to give it a laxative kick, he had something of an epiphany. If his theory was correct, it may be possible to create a process by which nitrogen molecules would be somehow combined with the strontium-90 to build a portable plasma generator. If this technology could be realized, it could revolutionize the energy sector and end the stranglehold that Century Fission and Gas had on the city. The next morning, Friday, he excitedly presented his theory to Mr. Breen, the head of his department. Mr. Breen seemed mildly intrigued at first, but when Joseph mentioned how this process could potentially revolutionize the energy industry and provide cheap, efficient power for everyone, Mr. Breen curtly told Joseph to get back to his normal duties and to leave his office. At the end of the workday, Joseph was summoned to Mr. Breen's office and was informed that he was being fired effective immediately. He had done work that was outside of his official purview and that behavior would not be tolerated at Cobalt Technology. He was swiftly escorted off premises by security. When he arrived home later that evening, he told his wife what had happened, and how it had made absolutely no sense, and how the first thing that he would do on Monday morning was to file an appeal with Human Resources to explain that it was all just one big misunderstanding, and that he was a loyal and trustworthy employee, and that he would never, intentionally or otherwise, do anything that ever violated the corporate code of conduct. After all, he had been with Cobalt Technology for over a decade, and his personnel file was completely unblemished. Unfortunately for Joseph Kerwin, Metro security forces arrived at his door on Sunday afternoon and politely informed him that he had been evicted from his apartment, and that if he didn't vacate the premises immediately and peacefully, he would be arrested and charged with advocating for social disorder. All of his possessions would be impounded and could be retrieved after he paid his fines. Joseph and his wife stood on the sidewalk in front of the Excelsior Towers apartment complex dumbfounded as the rain began to fall. He pulled out his phone and called his lawyer. He explained everything that had happened in the past 3 days, and after a long silence, his lawyer said to him, "How is it possible that you didn't know that Cobalt Technology, Century Fission and Gas, as well as Fortune Management, the owner of your apartment building, are all wholly owned subsidiaries of Nova Life Services? Also, I need to inform you that I will no longer be able to represent you, as my firm is currently involved in litigation which presents a conflict of interest." "20 years later, Joseph Kerwin finally completed his prototype plasma generator. After his wife had left him all those years ago, after he was homeless and destitute, he fled the city for the wasteland, eking out a living among the other throwaways, the weirdo loners, the druggies, the crazies, and the dissidents. All that he had left was to see his idea finally come to fruition. It was the only thing that kept him going, trading and bartering with the scrappers until he got what he needed to build his machine, refining his design after every failure and setback until his machine worked. He always knew that it would. Then, after he finally accomplished his task, with nothing left to keep him going, he died. Alone and forgotten.